Well, that's the deeper question. Because in the grand scheme of things, who's going to remember anything? So they remember I'm this, as long as they remember you.
Say hello to Mr. Dave Hook.
Because our first act this evening combines comedy and music with some of the best musical parodies you'll ever hear. Please welcome, from Kitchener, Ontario, Mr. David Hook. Mr. Dave Hook, give him a hand. And Mr. David Hook.
Anything I can do that won't fuck things up?
No. It's sad. And I was recording that, so. Go ahead.
I want to start with you right from the beginning.
And if I had $1 million, that would make me your landlord. And if I had $1 million, I'd raise your rent so you couldn't afford. If I had $1 million, I'd buy you an exotic pet, like a python that could kill you. And if
Some of the material that you do is off color.
Off color, but
Remember,
not today.
remember, this is a noon show.
I would say that I'm a dirty comedian.
Okay.
But, you know, that's...
How do you define dirty?
Dirty would be profanity, talking about those subjects that they don't talk about on TV.
Stompin' Tom, gay Stompin' Tom, but there's nothing wrong with that. All right. All the girls are out to bingo and the boys are getting stinko and we're thinking about some cornhole on a sodomy Saturday night. The weather road is stormy and I'm feeling hot and horny for a game and over 40 on a sodomy Saturday night. Well, I'll tie him up with cable and I'll bend him over the table and I'll show my potato on a sodomy Saturday night. Then I'll slick his ass with butter, then we'll really start to bugger. He'll be screaming for his mother on a sodomy Saturday night. And turns we will be taking when we start the gang raping, and over his mouth we're taping on a sodomy Saturday night. You'll never see that on TV.
I just wanted to do stuff that made me laugh. Like, I would never want to go out and give an audience a show that I would want to see.
This is a spelling bee that is being hosted by the crazy guy from Silence of the Lambs, not Hannibal Lecter, the other guy. You know what I mean? Right? This is him. Alright. The word you have to spell is lotion. May I have the definition, please? Lotion. Any medicated or cosmetic liquid applied externally. Can I have the word used in a sentence, please? Lotion. It puts the lotion in the basket. Could I please have the definition again, please, sir? Lotion. Any medicated or cosmetic liquid applied externally. Could you please put it in a sentence? Put the fucking lotion in a basket!
Become a boxer, correct?
Yeah, I wanted to become a boxer. I was interested in boxing. When I was a kid, my grandmother bought us boxing gloves, my brother and I, Jeff. We would actually box with my grandmother. She was a tough broad. She had her own nickname. She called herself China Jack. And we would fight, literally. But, I mean, she was a big woman. She was probably about 5'10", 5'11", but, I mean, this is when we're kids. So, I mean, she's like pounding us. Got the jab going down. You know, we're flying around. That's absolutely true. And it was fun. She enjoyed it, and we enjoyed it. When I was 17, a friend of mine found a boxing gym in town, and we showed up, and we started. It's basically you show up and you start to train, and you register with the province, and then the coach takes you to these places where they have fights. Like,
Now, do you think this is the first bite of showbiz? Was there a certain...
no, nothing like that at all.
You don't
The only
associate boxing at all with stand-up as far as being in the center of a ring, the center of attention?
Very clever, but no. Boxing, I found, was far more scary than stand-up ever was. There is a crowd, there's smoke, lights, and you step into that ring, and you know, this guy wants to take your head off or whatever, and all of a sudden you're just rethinking every decision why you got to this point. My coach said to me one time, he said, we want you to fight this guy, and they told me his name, Frank White. And I'd been around the boxing circuit, and I'd seen this guy fight, and this guy is like a killer. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to fight that guy. But at that point, I'd gained some sort of confidence over the years where I was like, I don't want to just say, I don't want to fight that guy because he's going to kill me. That would have just, it's like almost like you're going to go on stage and you just say at the last minute, nope, I'm not going up. You know, it would have that same consequence on your psyche or whatever. So I said, okay, I'll fight him, whatever. But I was terrified, like seriously terrified, because I'd seen this guy fight. But like I said, my pride got the better of me, and I said, whatever, I'll go out swinging. And I had the fight with him, and you actually have the footage of that. And this guy went on later to become the Ontario heavyweight champion. So this guy was like no slouch or whatever. But when I watch it now, I know that I'm getting beat. I'm getting sort of punched in the head. But when I look at this guy and I see how tough he is, I'm glad that I made the effort. And I'm glad I didn't get knocked out or there was anything too embarrassing. But I'm actually kind of proud of that.
You went the distance.
I went the distance, even though he did shake me up. I think you sell out when you do anything that you don't want to do. Where I've done that, I've taken jobs where I didn't want to do, and it was just hell on earth. And you know, just you're waiting for that 15-minute break where you can line up the shotgun correctly. I don't know what job you have where you got a shotgun, but just similar like that. Any type of job, and I mean that sort of hits the raw nerve with a lot of people, because I know lots of people do jobs that they hate. And hey, you try having kids or a mortgage and stuff like that. But luckily, even luckily, it was just, I wasn't in that situation that I had to put myself in somewhere. I was just every day just loathing what I was doing.
Okay, so you started working for Yucks as a doorman, then you got into the competition, and did the competition help? So just kind of repeat.
Your information is false, sir.
What? Okay.
I started out as an amateur comedian, did it, met everybody, the management and everything, and at some point, you know, I just heard there was a job, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll be a doorman, whatever. Yucks. They used to have the amateur night every Sunday night. There was always big crowds, and I would do it every Sunday. It felt better. It felt more natural, and I seemed to get a grasp of it. They always have a comedy competition. It was called the Search for Canada's Funniest New Comedian, and in 1992, I went into it, and it came very close. When I first started, like I said, I sucked. They turned the lights off on me, but after a while, I got, I wouldn't even say good, I just got the reins of it. I learned how to write jokes and to stage presence. I mean, the more you do anything, you just get better at it.
I went to McDonald's. Oh, McDonald's. What a fine restaurant that is, eh? Man, I go in there. This is what the girl says to me. I know it's all scripted now, and they tell them what to say. But I walk in there. She goes, good evening. Will you be dining here this evening? Like, I'm dining all of a sudden here at McDonald's. Like, what a fine restaurant this is. Oh, garçon. Hey, can I get a few more ketchup packets over here, please? This Big Mac is exquisite. And please give my compliments to the grade 9 zit-faced chef who put it together for me. Can you do that? Yeah.
I didn't win, and then after that, that's when I started playing the guitar, because I had heard that Mark Breslin, the main guy at Yucks, did not like guitar acts, and then I figured I lost out this year. The the competition is only once a year. So I mean, Mark Breslin didn't even know who I was, let alone care whether I could play a guitar on his amateur night. So I just thought I'd start playing the guitar, and then that added to my act that I already had going. And then the next year I did actually win the thing to represent Kitchener in the Canadian competition.
This old man, he played one, went to the bank with a shotgun with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, 'cause they rejected his bank loan. And this old man, he played two, said, give me the cash or I'll kill you with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. His lights are on, but no one's home. And this old man, he played three, said, I told you, bitch, don't screw with me with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. The scoop's falling off his ice cream cone. And this old man, he played four as the SWAT team men came in the door with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, said drop that gun in a loud harsh tone. And this old man, he played five, got his head blown off, did not survive with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone, a slug sent him to the twilight zone.
Okay, once you won the Search for Canada's
Hey, wait a minute. Go back to your insulting question that you just said. Once you started playing guitar, that's when you won.
Well, isn't that true? You said that you dropped it because...
Hey, I was second place in the 1992 one,
Okay.
and then the third one, which we're getting to, I guess.
Okay, I'm lost. Were you playing the guitar?
Not in 1992, I wasn't, because I had heard the thing about Breslin.
Right.
And, you know, as a kid, or, you know, a young man beginning comedy, and you hear Mark Breslin of Mark Breslin's Yuck Yucks does not like guitar acts. Screw him, I'm going to do it anyway. Of course, I said, okay, I'm going to drop it. And then when I lost in 1992, I got to wait another year to this next competition. I just said, you know, Mark Breslin doesn't even know my name, so I'm just going to play it anyway.
And that's when you won.
Yeah, but I think you're insinuating, but that's the reason why I won, is because I played guitar, which it very well could have been, but...
The audience liked it.
Yeah, the audience liked it, but I had good material before then.
Right. Oh, no,
I thought I did.
I'm not downplaying your material, but...
I think
okay,
you
but
are,
you
sir.
you got a Western Canada tour out of that.
Last week you were on the road.
Yeah.
Where were you? What were you doing?
I was up in Sault Ste. Marie and Little Current, and they weren't very current, but not even a little bit. But no, I was up in Elliott Lake and just way up there.
Well, usually it's three-man shows. There'll be the first guy that'll come out, he's the MC. He'll sort of, hey, how you doing? Any birthdays, anything like that? Get the show sort of warmed over. And then you've got a middle act that'll come out, and he'll do 30 minutes or so. And then the main guy, the MC guy, will come out again, do a few more jokes, and then bring out your feature performer or your headliner.
Now you opened for McLean and McLean?
Yep.
That's kind of the big time, isn't it?
The big time?
You said
Opening
you
for
opened
McLean and
McLean
McLean?
and McLean, and you opened for
I used to work
Kitchener.
at a nightclub place, and I knew the manager, and that seemed like a good contact to me when I heard or I saw on the marquee that McLean and McLean were coming. I'm a somewhat professional comedian. I said, hey, do they need an opener? And he was like, how much do you want? I just said, no, I'd do it. It looked good on the resume. So he said, fine. And McLean and McLean came, and I opened for them, and it went great.
So you were acting as your own agent. Nobody got you that bit. You just...
No one got me the free gig. Sorry. Is that sarcastic?
Stand-up gave you quite a few highs on
Highs, literally. Not that I was a drug addict or anything, but you've got to consider alcohol. What other job can you do where you're allowed to drink? Where you show up at the gig and they'll give you drink tickets. So I did get... I found how close I could come to my tolerance of a drinking problem, definitely. Because also, alcohol is the relaxer. Where, no matter what I want to say, no person is born a stand-up comedian. Like, when you come up, oh, I could never do that. People constantly are coming up to you and saying, oh, I could never do what you do. because of the nerves and everything, but I think alcohol did help a lot. And that's not saying that, I'm just saying, trying to point out that that had a bit to do with it.
How you doing? I'm Ben Guy. Welcome to Comedy at Club 54.
I used to get a lot of tapes, video tapes in the mail, and I got one from him in the mail. I didn't know who this guy was, Dave Hook. So in my living room, I put the tape in, and within, you can tell when you're auditioning people for a TV show, you can tell within like 2 minutes if they're good. And he wasn't just good, he was brilliant. There's a difference. I mean, a lot of guys can carry a joke and they can do their 20 minutes for television, and you know, it's passable. But Dave Hook was brilliant. I mean, I sat there laughing my ass off because there was a lot of innuendo and you had to think a little bit, and some of it was subtle and some of it wasn't. So he was a master at mixing that very thing, something that was subtle and something that was in your face.
I was watching one of these talk shows. You like to watch the talk shows there? I was watching, I don't know. I was watching one show. I couldn't believe this. There's a woman on this show. She's a guest, right? She's telling everybody that she was abducted by a UFO. That was her story. She's telling everybody she was abducted by a UFO. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking like, why would you ever admit that to somebody? I mean, once you say that, you're a freak for the rest of your life. Is that not true? If that happened to me, I would not tell a soul. Are you with me? I mean, I'd have a story. I could be found naked by police in a crop circle, and I'd still have a story. You know, I'd be like, hey, I guess me and Black Zambuca don't mix, eh, boys? Yeah. UFO? No, I was having sex with a cow. I'm no freak.
You went down to Los Angeles, right? And you did.
Was that in my bio? No, I actually was in Los Angeles. I never performed, though, when I was in Los Angeles.
Why not?
I went down, and it was just the city and everything. At this point, too, I was becoming disheartened with the whole thing. And what they had told me at that point was I could come down and do a spot, a 3-minute spot, if I waited all afternoon to be picked out of a crowd of people to go on that night. So there was no guarantee I was going to be able to go on. So at this point, I'd already been a professional comedian for like 10 years. And it's almost like not arrogance or anything. It's just like, why am I doing this? I've been through this. I don't think I want to do that all again. Because I know what we're chasing. You're chasing fame and admiration and everything. And it's like, I don't need that anymore. I mean, it'd be great. I'd love to get like great money and be in movies and stuff like that. But there's a hard road to hoe to do that. And I'd already sort of hoed it in a place that, didn't matter. If you're doing it in Canada, it's kind of pointless. Like people used to say, well, you can't get famous in Canada. And it's true. You can't. But at the point, you don't know that sort of stuff. You have to sort of find out on your own.
I guess it's true that we say a lot. But the beer is cold here and the bacon's hot. And a big red leaf on our flag is all we got. I can live with that. Cause not many people here own a gun. We're supposed to have a lot of beavers, but I've never seen one. Except the one time on the 401. But he was flat. Cause I'm Canadian. I drive a hunk of crap, Acadian. I wear a toque on my cranium. We got a prime minister, not a president. He's a crazy French guy and his mouth is bent. We had a chick one time, but she came and went. And I thank the Lord. and we say Z, and you say Z. We got bad movies and we have worse TV. You would hang yourself if you watched CBC with an extension cord. And no, I don't live in an igloo. And no, not everyone here is always nice. 'Cause if you make us mad, we're only gonna warn you once, then we'll warn you twice. Oh, I'm Canadian. I drive a good crap Acadian. And we don't fight 'cause we're afraidian. Unless it's in a hockey stadium. Thank you very much, Club 54. My name's Dave Hook.
It's kind of a creepy question, but when did you first notice something that had you enough concern that you wanted to get it checked out as far as
the question was, when did I have some concern about going and checking out? We're talking about I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So, it just was pretty slight. It was, I noticed sometimes if I was walking upstairs, my foot would, tap the next stair that I was going up on. Just basic stuff that people take for granted, or you just stair climbing and just notice something off. And then I was still not boxing at this point, but I was still go up and work out every once in a while. Once it's in your blood, you like to go and train. And there's a thing called the speed bag, as everybody's seen in the Rocky movies, where you're doing the thing and it's so fast. But there's a technique that you use to hit the speed bag. This is almost a demonstration tape. How to hit the speed bag. You hit it once, and then you hit it back, and then you hit it once, and then you hit it back, and then you hit it once, and you hit it back, until it's moving like you see in the movies. But I noticed with my left hand that I couldn't get that full rhythm going that I used to be able to do. And it wasn't just that I was screwing up, it was definitely the mind to this hand to do it. And then I started figuring maybe this is something to be concerned about with the left hand and the left foot. So I thought I'd go to the doctor and tell her about it. And she seemed disappointed with me. She was like, well, you should have said something about this before. And then I went and she got an appointment with me to do a CT scan, which is a brain x-ray. And when that happened, they pulled me aside and said, we found something on the brain x-ray. There's a mass there. And it turned out that it was a tumor. Didn't know that right at the time. There was obviously something there, but there were further tests that I had to do to find out that was a tumor. Well, after the results were back, they said I had a level 3. So the 1 and the 2 are pretty slow growing, and then the 3 and the 4 are considered like fast, like a cancer type thing. So they said I had a 3. And then they gave me a bunch of options I could do. I could do chemotherapy, or I could do radiation. And with the internet now, you can really look up these things. Like, it's not like the old days. You can sort of look into it for yourself. And I just decided that the radiation sounded like the way to go, because it was less toxic, and it just seemed like the thing to try, because that had worked from results-wise. It seemed to be the best way to go. So I did that for a couple of things.
how does that make you feel? Like radiation?
Well, it is what it is. It's you sit down, they make you a plastic mask to put on your face, and sorry if I'm bumping the mic. And they lay you on a table so your head can't move, and then they take the pictures of where your tumor is, and they try to line up these radiation beams, and your head is locked in, and it's frightening only because when you go in, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen. And then you hear, and it's you understand that this is some potent shit that they're shooting directly into your brain. I mean, the main thing that you are in this world, or the way that you can perceive things, is being basically poisoned. Because as accurate as they try to sound, like they're trying to say that they're hitting the tumor from all different angles, but they've got one here, one here. They're going through healthy tissue as well. And I found that out later, and it's like, oh my God. So they're hitting their target, but what else are they doing? You don't know. So there's the whole big what if. What else is going on? Because there's other stuff. Like the thing is, there's memory loss, and so you got all these things going through your head. You know, is my vision gonna be impaired when I come out of this? Am I gonna not have my memory anymore, or at least not the way it was? So that's mostly the scary. It's the unknown. I guess that's the scary thing about life too, is the unknown. But when this all first started to happen to me, I sort of thought, like, why did this happen all of a sudden? And I just retraced my steps, and I just was like thinking, what did I do differently this year that I didn't do before, or whatever? And I realized that year was the first year I ever got a cell phone, and I had moved out of my place, and I wasn't using like a hard line. That was my main phone, was the cell phone. I was using it all the time. And then I thought about, it's on this side, and that was the way that I held it. So that just got me thinking, that maybe there's some kind of connection here. And I really got into wondering what the connection was.
Now you get diagnosed with this, and yet you still went back on stage.
A couple times. I mean, the symptoms weren't too bad that they would affect that. It was something that I enjoyed doing, so why not try it?
I play a little song here that I wrote. So you ever have like a bad day, like a pretty friggin' bad day? So I named the song Bad Day. All right. My wife told me she's leaving, my wisdom teeth are bleeding, my hairline is receding, and my dog, he ain't breathing. My daughter's skipping classes, my doc says I need glasses, my son likes men's asses, and I haven't paid my taxes, and I got gonorrhea and swollen genitalia. I drank some bad tequila, now I have diarrhea. My hair is turning gray, I don't know what to say. My son just joined ballet. It's been a bad day. It's been a bad day. Yeah, it's been a bad day. A priest called me a liar, my card blew a tire, my house was set on fire, and my son just joined the choir. In my brain they found a tumor, they wish they'd found it sooner. My sex change is a rumor. Think I'll trick a schooner. I got into a bar fight when camping, got a snake bite. My son is a transvestite and I'm losing my eyesight. I got gas, forgot to pay. I almost got away. In jail tonight I'll stay. It's been a bad day. It's been a bad day. Yeah, it's been a bad day.
The symptoms that I had that first gave me the red flag that something might be wrong increasingly got worse, where my walking was affected. And I mean, how can you be a stand-up comedian when you can't stand up? Truthfully, it's hard. And especially I was getting seizures as well. So I mean, that's definitely a showstopper right there. Hold on a second. So that's also the, it's like the thing that, it's the unknown thing. You don't want to go on stage knowing, that something like that could happen. So that scares you to wanting to get in front of a crowd, most definitely. Yeah. Well, this is weird because we're on camera here and we're talking. I'm actually sitting in a wheelchair right now. And that's very new to me because it only really started getting so bad that I couldn't walk about 2 weeks ago. So this is very new for me now. And I'm around people that I've known for a while, and I know that I must look different because it's the friggin' elephant in the living room. Something's definitely different with me being in a wheelchair. And it's not something that, that seems funny that someone wants to make a joke about, and usually the people I'm around, we're joking constantly. So there is that sort of little thing there. So it's definitely a big thing, but I think it's up to me. If I want people to treat me normally, then just act like myself. And I think I've done that pretty good. But like I say, this is still new to me. I'm going through some tough stuff. Just not tough stuff, but just it's fucking frustrating, man. A wheelchair is not. It's always been my biggest fear, and you know, it's almost like voila, here it is, buddy. So sucks.
On everyone's schedule eventually, right?
Yeah, eventually, but I'm 34 years old. I mean, you don't expect it this quick. I mean, there are other people, you know. I can imagine. At least I had like a gradual thing to it, where I knew I was sick and things started getting gradually worse. But you know, some kid who breaks his neck in a diving accident, all of a sudden, Christopher Reeve, exactly. Boom, you know, your life has completely changed that day. So, as stupid as it sounds, I believe in God, and I believe that there's a plan for everybody. And if this is my little cross to bear to do, who am I to say?
Tonight I'll stay. It's been a bad day. It's been a bad day. Yeah, it's been a bad day. I got the axe where I was working, lost a bundle on a sure thing. My grandma caught me jerking, didn't know that she was 13. Fell down an escalator, got ripped up by a waiter. My wife, I really hate her, and I'm a chronic masturbator. A kid hit me with a snowball, and then I got a prank call, put my fist through the drywall, and my daughter found my sex doll. Tomorrow there is no way I'm going down to the subway, and on the tracks I'm gonna lay. It's been a bad day. It's been a bad day. Yeah, it's been a bad